This is CBS.
Coming up next on 11 News at noon, a death row inmate charged with killing a Houston police officer 11 years ago gets a new hearing in federal court today. Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher are back together again in court as he hears his sentence.
And pop star Michael Jackson is hiding from the spotlight after admitting to a drug problem. These stories, Mario's changing weather, next on 11 News.
How do you like your Grant's Farm bread?
I like mine with meatloaf and pastrami, bologna, lettuce, and salami, sprouts and avocado, roast beef and tomato, Grant's Farm with mayo, tortellini and tomato, Gouda, Swiss, and cheddar. Everything tastes better, even tuna and tortilla chips, PBJ and licorice whips. Oh, everything tastes better with Grant's Farm bread. Songbirds 70s and 80s.
Songbirds 70s and 80s, the groovin' game full of the big hits.
We are family.
Songbirds with over 650 hits. Just complete the lyrics with some approximation of the tune.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
And you're on your way to platinum.
I'm just burning doing the new
Name of the game this week, new Songbirds 70s and 80s.
If you're disabled and can't work, Social Security should be available. Too often, help is denied. Call Hardy and Heron, LAW 8888.
11 News at noon is simulcast on this Spirit of Texas radio station. From KHOU-TV Houston, the Spirit of Texas, this is 11 News. With Sylvan Rodriguez, Clare Casademont, and Mario Gomez with weather. 11 News at noon.
He claims he was not the gunman who killed a Houston police officer 11 years ago. Today, a federal judge examines whether death row inmate Ricardo Aldalpeguera should get a new trial. Good afternoon. Attorneys for Aldalpeguera are in court today trying to convince a federal judge that he deserves a new trial. They say he is not the killer of Officer James Harris.
New defense witnesses will reportedly say that Guerra's empty hands were on the hood of a police car when the officer was shot. Let's get the latest now from 11 News reporter Sam Saucedo, who is live at the federal courthouse in downtown Houston. Sam?
Well, Clare and Sylvan, the defense is calling this a case of misidentification. They claim that the wrong man was named and convicted for the killing of a Houston police officer, and this case has drawn international attention.
Family and friends of the defendant, Ricardo Aldalpeguera, have come from Mexico to show their support. Federal Judge Kenneth Hoyt is holding an evidentiary hearing to determine whether Guerra should be granted a new trial. He was convicted of the shooting death of Houston police officer James Harris, but defense attorney Scott Atlas contends the state and police intimidated witnesses against Guerra. He claims the real killer was a man Guerra had been with named Roberto Carrasca Flores. Flores was also killed that night, and investigators found the gun used to kill the officer on him. The Mexican government has filed a friend of the court brief urging the federal court to review the case. And even a Mexican congresswoman is here listening to testimony.
Well, in the Mexican Congress, we are very concerned about the Mexicans that are in the death row here in the United States. And the Aldalpeguera is a hope for everyone.
Now, the president of Mexico has even petitioned Governor Ann Richards for clemency in this case. Testimony will continue throughout the day and probably the rest of the week and into next week, but sometime next week or perhaps the week after that, federal Judge Kenneth Hoyt will have to rule on whether Ricardo Aldalpeguera will get a new trial or not. Sylvan, Clare?
All right, Sam Saucedo, thank you.
Houston police are investigating an explosion that rocked a Montrose area home.
11 News reporter Terry Elliott is standing by live now at the scene with details. Terry, what happened out there?
Well, Sylvan and Clare, this is really a scary situation because it could have happened to anyone, and it could have been fatal. In this case, though, it wasn't. We understand from police that Lorraine Scalise went out to pick up her paper this morning. Miss Scalise is a 70-year-old Montrose area resident. She went out to get her paper. She noticed 3 bottles by her paper. Those are some of the bottles. She picked up the paper, and there is Miss Scalise. Picked up the paper, picked up the bottles, took them inside. Some time passed, and then one of the bottles, the glass container, blew up. We understand from Miss Scalise talking to her over the phone earlier that she's concerned that she may have some damage to her eardrums. She can't hear very well in one of her ears. And then police told us that a chandelier in the home was destroyed. They're out here investigating. Bomb squad officers arrived a while ago. 2 of these bottles are still here, as you saw in the video. They need to remove those, see what's inside of them. But from everything we know, Miss Scalise is going to be okay, but there was an explosion in her home. Some discrepancy about time. She has told officers it took place about 10:30. However, police didn't get the call until 11:20. So they don't know. It's possible she was knocked out for a short while and then came to and made that call. In any event, after the explosion, she's carried the other 2 bottles outside and placed them in her yard. Sylvan, Clare?
All right, Terry Elliott reporting live. Thanks.
Okay.
Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco together again, but it's not much of a reunion still ahead. Amy speaks out as Joey is sentenced for statutory rape.
Also ahead, Pepsi pulls the plug on Michael, and Michael has dropped out of sight.
For weeks, I had these nagging headaches. I didn't even want to go out. Didn't enjoy people. My neighbor referred me to Diagnostic Clinic.
It's time for answers. Refer someone you love to Diagnostic Clinic of Houston, 797-9191.
I get into this holiday thing a little.
A little? It's crystal and the silver and the shine. Yeah, but Gail, check out these guest towels.
Okay, I fess up. I get it from Marshall's.
Let's go tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Told you I'd get
Look
it.
at
I'll see you guys later.
Oh, that's gonna look great on a holiday table.
Nice crystal. Nice price.
Right now, Italian Christmas serving pieces are only $9.99 at Marshall's.
Never, never, never pay for.
I think I need my own card.
I know what you want before you say it.
Tyson Holly Farms chicken.
I know the song before you play it.
Because you want only the best for your family.
We're just family, you and me. Feeding you as good as good can be.
Tyson Holly Farms chickens are so fresh and natural because we never forget where all our food is going.
Tyson's feeding you like family.
Great Britain's Royal Regiments on parade. Dedicated, skilled, steeped in tradition. The Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment, and the Royal Anglian Regiment, celebrating the anniversary of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth.
Appearing at the Summit on Thursday, November 18th. Tickets now on sale at the Summit box office and all Ticketmaster outlets.
I'm back on the job. It wasn't a stomach ulcer after all. I got the good news when my dad here referred me to Diagnostic Clinic. Thanks, Dad.
It's time for answers. Refer someone you love to Diagnostic Clinic of Houston, 797-9191.
Looking for work? Call Channel 11's Spirit of Texas Job Line at 639-2211. It's your 24-hour-a-day source for new positions in the Houston area.
A drama unfolding in a New York courtroom today. Joey Buttafuoco returned to court to be sentenced for having an affair with a teenage minor.
Amy Fisher also faced the glare of publicity today as she joined Buttafuoco in the same courtroom. Ken Jarrell joins us now with more on this reunion in a Long Island courtroom. Ken?
It was Joey Buttafuoco's day of sentencing here on Long Island. Right now he is beginning his sentence of 6 months in jail. He was also sentenced to 5 years probation and a $5,000 fine. For a year and a half, Joey Buttafuoco denied what appeared obvious to many people, that he had an affair with Amy Fisher when she was just 16 years old. Citing his own family considerations, Buttafuoco last month pled guilty to a statutory rape charge in a deal with the prosecutor.
He says to you through me, I am sorry, I made a mistake.
Mary Jo Buttafuoco was nearly killed in May 1992 when Amy Fisher shot her in the head. Mrs. Buttafuoco has said her husband should not have to go to jail because he is a family man, loved by his son and daughter. Amy Fisher is serving 5 to 15 years. She maintained she had a long and passionate affair with Joey Buttafuoco and now hopes her chances for early parole have increased with her former lover's admission of guilt.
He knew before he entered this plea that many witnesses have come forward and testified to his bragging of a sexual relationship he was having with a 16-year-old. He is most certainly aware that I can accurately describe unique physical markings which only a person who had been intimate with him would know. There are also witnesses who saw us together and phone records which corroborate our activities.
Amy Fisher claimed again today in court that Joey Buttafuoco was aware she intended to shoot his wife and that he encouraged her to do so. Buttafuoco's lawyer said Amy Fisher was just trying to pass her guilt on. This afternoon, the prosecutor here in Long Island said this case is now over. Claire, Sylvan?
Okay, Ken, Jarrell, thank you very much.
Michael Jackson has vanished from the spotlight since announcing he is hooked on prescription drugs. As Sandra Hughes reports, that has a curious public wondering.
The international press is camped outside a drug rehabilitation center in London, where Michael Jackson may have checked in for treatment. But no one has seen the elusive star since he canceled his world tour on Friday. The reason, splashed across the headlines, Jackson is addicted to painkillers. In an audio-taped message, Jackson put much of the blame on child abuse allegations made by a 13-year-old Los Angeles boy.
I was humiliated, embarrassed, hurt, and suffering great pain in my heart. I became increasingly more dependent on the painkillers to get me through the days of my tour.
The pop star says he started taking the pills after surgery caused by a burn he sustained while filming this Pepsi commercial. The cola giant, which sponsored his world tour, says Pepsi's long relationship with the star is over. Elizabeth Taylor was reportedly traveling with the singer to Switzerland over the weekend, but when she arrived in Geneva, Jackson was not with her. Back in the U.S., there is speculation Jackson is running from the ongoing investigation into sexual abuse charges. Just this week, police raided Jackson's parents' home in Encino, California. But entertainment friends aren't wavering in their support.
I'll always be a part of him. We'll always be a part of each other. And I just ask God to guide him through all this.
The mystery surrounding Jackson may become clearer when his Los Angeles attorney holds a news conference later today. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And this late footnote, there is word that Michael Jackson is now staying at a ski resort in southern France. The local tourist office made the announcement today.
And much more still to come. The power of the mind, something many folks greatly underestimate.
Still ahead, how mind control can help ease the pain or illness inside our bodies.
What a great idea.
Pamela Blasetti, professional baker.
Now Crisco comes in these new sticks, like butter, only better.
They're easy to measure, easy to store.
They go in the pantry, not the refrigerator. So they're always soft and much easier to blend. And right in the package is Crisco's ultimate chocolate chip cookie recipe.
They bake up higher than the Toll House cookies that use butter. Stay moister, too.
See? New butter-flavored Crisco sticks have butter beat.
Cooks who know trust Crisco.
In Texas, each year, 830,000 people live with it. But it doesn't limit their lifestyle or their social life. What is it that these people have in common? Diabetes. At Heights Hospital Diabetes Center, our comprehensive outpatient program will help you manage your diabetes. Call today, 802-8750 for an appointment.
Quick. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say X-Lax? Wrong. You haven't been paying attention all these years. First of all, it's a pill. Hello? In fact, it's 3 different pills, so you can choose only as much as you need. Regular, maximum relief, and extra dental. Gee, all those years without X-Lax. No wonder you're so cranky.
Today's X-Lax, not what you expect.
Please pass the all fruit.
Pass the Polana all fruit.
Pass the Polana all fruit.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polana all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice and no added sugar. You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please don't dare call it jelly. Polana all fruit, the spreadable fruit.
Doctors today are trying radically different approaches to fight illness and disease.
This afternoon, health reporter Susan Starnes takes a last look at medicine's new horizon.
And try to keep your focus on your breathing through the end of your nose.
Learning to release stress by breathing deeply is just one skill this mind-body clinic teaches doctors and hospital workers.
If you feel tightness in your neck, your lower back, just imagine that you let it go with every exhalation.
Incorporating deep breathing, meditation, healthy eating habits, exercise, and changing how students think about stress is the mission of this wellness program.
In medicine, we're seeing so many changes now that it's important for us as physicians to recognize that there's more than just the physical.
The medical director of this clinic is a practicing breast cancer surgeon.
It's obvious that the mind and the body are not split. It's one scenario, one body and one mind all working together.
Fran Nestor is an old patient of Dr. Neff's. She's been using the yoga positions, meditation, and new thinking strategies to help her cope with breast cancer.
I just know that my whole body is tense all over, and I know that that's not a good way for your body to be.
Just 3 weeks into the classwork, her migraine headaches became less frequent.
I haven't had a migraine now for 10 days. So I'm doing good. I haven't had an aspirin for 10 days.
A week later, Fran was placing this newly upholstered rocker in the family country house.
So I didn't do my yoga, I didn't do my tapes. I just hustle, bustle all the week, all the weekend long. And by Sunday, I felt awful. And I realized I have to incorporate that into my entire life, not just my normal life back here in the busy city, but I have to do it every day.
When you're laughing, you get a cardiovascular massage. All of your internal organs are, you talked about a full body massage. Well, you haven't had a full body massage unless you've had a good belly laugh, because you haven't gotten the insides of the massage.
Part of learning to think about stress differently is learning to laugh at it.
Eventually, we find most everything in our lives funny. Things that seem really bad, something went really rotten today, but a week later or a year later or 20 years down the line, it's one of our favorite funny stories.
150 over 70.
The originator of the Houston program, Dr. Herbert Benson, has shown key vital signs like blood pressure become more normal when students meditate in a way he calls the relaxation response.
Heart's beating well.
Only in the period when the relaxation response occurs are there changes in the brain waves, in the biochemistry, in the heart rate, in their rate of breathing, in their metabolism. So it becomes quite clear that only when you elicit the relaxation response do the changes occur.
Using your breath, that vital connection between your mind and body.
Students are taught to use words or prayers from their religious beliefs to invoke the response. Mixing spirituality into a setting where most physicians are trained to look at the body isn't radical at all to this Harvard cardiologist.
We have trained ministers and priests and rabbis into which prayers in their own tradition brings forth this response. And our scientific data has shown us how we can bring medicine and religion and well-being closer together.
Over the last 30 years, medicine increased its dependence on technology to keep people healthy. Now there is mounting evidence there is another tool available to doctors, the power of the mind to heal. But whether that approach will win widespread acceptance in the medical community is a debate that could go on another 30 years. Susan Starnes, 11 News.
Mario, we'll have our weather forecast right after this.
MCI customers, take the test.
Give them a listen, see what you think.
This one's much clearer.
What if you could get this line and actually save money?
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a better bargain. I would definitely go with something that's clearer, that's saving me money. I'd have to go back.
Come on back. You'll hear more, but you'll pay less. Switch to AT&T now.
Welcome to Elsie's Market. Lately, we've been steering Elmer towards eating right. He loves the new improved taste of Borden fat-free singles. They taste better than the leading fat-free brand. And Borden fat-free singles are made with the same dairy goodness as pure, fresh Borden milk. No wonder my customers prefer Borden fat-free singles.
Delicious.
Dad. Nice try, Elmer. If it's Borden, it's got to be good.
Why are more people with Medicare choosing Secure Horizons? For Carol Coffey, Secure Horizons means great doctors.
When I had a stroke, I had more than a doctor. I had a team.
My doctor made sure I had the best emergency care, and he called in specialists to review my case.
They agreed that Carol should stay in the hospital a few days for tests.
When I got out of the hospital, I owed nothing, and Secure Horizons took care of 100% of all of my hospital costs. And I had no paperwork.
I only had to pay $6 for follow-up office visits, and that left me with just one concern: getting better.
If you have Medicare, here are some of the Secure Horizons benefits you could enjoy. No premiums, no deductibles, only $6 doctor visits, and worldwide emergency coverage. Quality care without premiums or deductibles. That's why Secure Horizons is the leading choice for people with Medicare.
That's why I'm secure.
For a free information kit, call 850-1386.
Across the Gulf Coast, we can't seem to part company with the rain. Showers have been coming in just offshore since very early this morning. You can see the rain kind of lying from the lower Gulf Coast from Matagorda Bay and then drifting into Louisiana. The rain has been so intense in Louisiana that severe flood watches are posted for much of the southwestern corners here of Louisiana. Another 2 to 4 inches is likely. This is the rainfall pattern this morning. The rain came in for a brief while across Matagorda and down through Missouri and Galveston counties, but you can see that the rain has now drifted a little further east, and as we said, it's well into Louisiana, into Beaumont and Port Arthur. We could see another little surge of moisture move back towards the Gulf Coast, especially tonight and tomorrow. We'll be waiting for the weather system out west to cause this moisture to be pulled inland. A little further north, the storm system that's causing this one to move, this frontal system to move, should be located out here in the west. You can see it's still in New Mexico and Arizona. As it drifts closer to Texas, the upper level winds may actually draw the front, which caused the showers over the weekend a little closer to the Houston-Galveston area. I certainly think Galveston will get some more rain tonight, and if not tomorrow, once again. As this low moves out of the way, looks like we'll see more rainfall in our near future, probably tonight and tomorrow. You can see the temperatures are quite chilly around the state. 30s right now in the Panhandle, teens in the Denver area this morning, and we're still looking at temperatures just slightly above freezing this morning in Denver, and much of Texas, at least in the afternoon, we'll see highs no better than the 40s across the northern end of the state. Here in Houston, as long as this frontal system is stalled along the Gulf Coast, we may manage to get to the 70s as early as tomorrow, if not later today, but so far we've been very cool. The temperature started off at 56 degrees due to the weak Pacific front that moved through the city yesterday. The high temperature, actually, this is kind of hard, this is kind of deceiving because the temperature came just after midnight. This high was reported yesterday just after midnight at 78, and you can see how those temperatures compare to our average. Currently in town, readings are in the 60s, the island sitting at about 63. Winds have been a little gusty out there, mostly due to the thunderstorms that we have offshore. Water temperature sitting at about 63 right now with clouds. Looks like our future is kind of cloudy through tonight and tomorrow. From those clouds, we could also see a few light showers. Now, if you live near the coast, particularly this afternoon and tonight, your rain chances are at least 60%. If you live in Houston, I think our rain chances are going to be a little bit lower this afternoon, but increasing especially by tonight and tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on the weather front offshore, but I think that front will move back our way. It can only mean one thing, a return of what we had over the weekend. More showers, perhaps as much as a ½ inch in some of those isolated thunderstorms. By Wednesday, though, we're back in the clear. Clouds will be around, but the rainfall will move out of the Houston area. I think by the end of the week, we should be looking at milder weather, and weather that has been a long time in coming. It was a very soggy weekend. There was one high note. The Oilers won their game
Yeah,
far away.
That was about the only high note.
Best thing we could see this weekend.
Thanks, Mario.
Okay.
Let's take a look at Wall Street this noon hour. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 12 points at 3,672.
If you liked Al Pacino in Scarface, you're going to love him in his latest movie. When we return, movie critic Gary Cogill reviews Carlito's Way. Stay with us.
Why do you listen to Mix 96.5?
It's different because it plays everything. Few commercials, great music.
It's not rap.
Don't really have to worry about all the heavy metal.
It brings back memories of girlfriends or dates or just crazy things we used to do.
That's when folk was folk.
96 is like a perfect mix.
I flip and I end up back at 96.5. That's it.
More music, more variety, a better mix. Mix 96.5.
I ask 3 hospitals about women's services, and they send me maternity brochures. Doesn't women's health involve more than having babies? Not that having babies is unimportant. Someday, somebody's going to put it all together.
Memorial Healthcare System, a healthier approach to healthcare.
In most places, words sound pretty much the same. But not in Louisiana. We paddle our pirogues on Bayou Lafourche. In Breaux Bridge, we're crazy for crawfish. In Zwolle, it's the tamale. And in New Orleans, we celebrate every day with beignets. So come pass a good time in Louisiana and say things you've never seen before. For your free Louisiana travel guide, call 1-800-99-GUMBO today.
I tell you, people write to me about everything. I do mean everything. It's the guest you saw.
What a hunk. I don't suppose you'd want to play matchmaker, would you? P.S. I'm a Virgo.
It's constructive criticism.
Today I thought what you wore was absolutely ghastly. For one thing, stay away from plaids.
Guess why 2 grandmothers wrote this?
We'll climb mountains, swim the Mississippi, and run through Chicago naked.
Your letters get answered on the next Oprah.
Turn to Oprah, today at 4 on Channel 11.
Finally, this noon hour, Oscar winner Al Pacino and director Brian Depalma join artistic forces on the big screen once again.
Channel 11's movie critic Gary Cogill says Carlito's Way is an amazing movie. He says it's definitely worth watching.
Change, and it didn't take no 30 years like your honor thought, but only 5.
Carlito's Way returns last year's Oscar winner Al Pacino to the mean streets of Spanish Harlem, as well as the cinematic embrace of director Brian Depalma, who directed Pacino in Scarface. Pacino plays Carlito Brigante, a former drug dealer fresh out of prison and wonderfully reformed.
I am free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I am free at last.
Al Pacino is terrific in Carlito's Way, playing a flamboyant, troublesome character. Sean Penn is equally impressive as his corrupt, out-of-control lawyer. You may not recognize Penn. He's the one with the curly hair and glasses.
You are the only person on earth that I can trust.
Penelope Ann Miller rounds out the first-rate cast as the former girlfriend turned topless dancer. Her relationship with Carlito is one of forgiveness and tenderness. They play nice people in a tough world, and you want them to succeed.
It ends with me carrying you into an emergency room at 3 o'clock in the morning and standing there crying like an idiot.
I think she has a really big heart, and she really loves this man, Carlito. I think she, in spite of all the problems in his life and his past and everything, I think she can't help herself.
Carlito's Way is rated a tough R for nudity, drugs, and language. This is not an easy film, but Brian De Palma's movie often approaches cinematic opera.
With Pacino, you never know what's going to happen, and he always comes up with stuff that surprises you and makes you work a little harder.
Carlito's Way is strictly adult fare and not for children. Tough but tender, decadent but surprisingly moral. Pacino and Penn are simply amazing in this film about a good man surrounded by bad people. Gary Cogill, 11 News.
Whoa, a little bit of violence, but I guess you expect that from a De Palma film.
Yeah,
It's
on the
interesting.
list. Want to see it.
Yeah. That's
We'll
our
see
news
you later.
Pull up.
For Dr. Neil Frank's weather free at any time, dial 878-8000.
Then dial NEIL, N-E-I-L.
Look, if my mother doesn't care about my homework, why should I care?
Show me a parent who really cares, and I'll show you a kid who can learn.
I was born with sickle cell anemia and many times in my life given up to die. 8 years ago, I needed a hip replacement, but the doctors thought my bones were much too thin to hold the prostheses. I went to the Lord in prayer. He touched me and made me whole. The surgery was a success, and to the amazement of all, I'm alive and doing well.
Why We Pray. Charles Hadlock reports tonight on 11 News at 10. Because it's not just the news, it's the spirit of Texas.
Kraft helps you make holiday magic with Velveeta salsa dip. Start with Velveeta, then add salsa. Cheddar can't melt this smooth and creamy. Look on the box for the Velveeta cheese spread salsa dip recipe. For a dip so cheesy good, they'll think it's incredible. Make holiday magic with Velveeta.
Wait till you experience Tropicana Pure Premium Grove Stand. The taste of fresh squeezed. 100% pure, not from concentrate orange juice. Like fresh squeezed, Grove Stand has a taste so fresh, so rich, so real. Every sip is like biting into an orange, right down to the peel. Pure Premium Grove Stand from Tropicana, the taste of fresh squeezed.
The Buddy System, tonight on 11 News at 10.